Episode 133, as the Montreal Canadiens, as the thumbnail shows, 1 win away from a Stanley Cup final. Yes, you heard me correct. And I can hear all of you out there. And Jordan, Joe, they're on standby. Mac, of course, is here. Joe's reminding me, comments out there. Can't wait to hear Kyper downplay Montreal. Talk about Vegas and how great they are, just not playing well. No, I'm not going to do that. Full credit. But we on this show, and I'll include Mac, and Mac can speak for himself, but we just call it the way we see it. And the eye test and the experience that we've had around the game, it's easy 5 weeks ago to look at the Montreal Canadiens and say they couldn't beat a junior A team. They were horseshit 5 weeks ago. And then you watch them against the Leafs, down 3-1. Didn't look very good. So you can only comment on what you see. And what we see today and what we saw 5 weeks ago, or those first 4 games against the Leafs, different picture. And full credit for the guys and full credit for the coaching staff. Ducharme's not even there. Luke Richardson comes in. There's Sean Burke. There's Alex Burrows. Full marks to all of them, because what we see out of the Montreal Canadiens today is vastly different than we saw a month ago. Mac, back me up.
Well, some of us were not quite as hard on the Habs as others.
And you were one of them?
I did pick them to battle the Leafs right to the end. And I did pick them to win a couple of games here against San Jose when you were dead against it. But look, hey, they played really well. I'm shocked. I mean,
we're all shocked. We're all shocked.
Night, I picked them to win the last two, or the two previous there, but I didn't pick them to win last night. But I'll tell you what, they were solid in every category, and Vegas are stumbling in too many areas.
All right.
Key players all over the map, they're struggling.
We'll break it down.
Stumbling.
We'll break it down. But I just want to stay on the focus on the probability of a team that has a 18th overall record after 56 games, again, putting themselves in a predicament of being 1 win away from a Stanley Cup final. And if we go, 4 years ago, and we talk about the probability of an expansion team getting to a Stanley Cup final, this doesn't have that extreme. I get that. But in the grand scheme of things, historically, this isn't too far off, Mac, between that expansion team 4 years ago to go into a final, or seeing a team that during the course of 82 games probably would have missed the playoffs, now 1 win away from a Stanley Cup final.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting is Bergevin was given amazing credit this summer for the pickups, whether it was Toffoli, whether it was Edmonston, whether it was whoever he picked up. Okay, Perry. And all of a sudden, they were slotted in as playoff type guys.
That was our conversations early.
Where did they get Sherratt? How come Winnipeg, who were desperate on the back end, let Sherratt go? Okay, so besides that, they were picked as guys that would play. The first 7 or 8 games the Montreal Canadiens played, we said at the time, wow, I wouldn't want to play this heavy team at playoff time. And then they went for a dump. Price was not very good. Primo wasn't very good. Allen was good. I mean, they stumbled badly. Now,
we gave Montreal full credit when they deserved it early in the season, did we not? We showed them love. But we had this conversation that they looked like a team built in the playoffs. We had that conversation, 10 games into the regular season? 15?
But here's what I also said. I said, yes, but I'm really nervous about their youth down the middle. Their youth down the middle scared me. Okay, yeah. Annie and Suzuki, I was nervous that they weren't veteran enough to do it. And guess what? I was so wrong. Well, I knew they were going to be real good players. I just thought they were a little early, a little premature to put them in there. Well, guess what? They're difference makers. So they're a different team. Byron, they didn't even know what they had. They didn't know where Price was. They had to bring Sean Burke in to help him. Byron, they put on waivers 3 times for cap space, and whether they could have very easily lost him. I mean, look, there was lots of things that they didn't really know were going to happen either. Bergevin was talking about retiring. I've had my fill. I can't take the heat anymore. And look what's going on. Ducharme coaching change because they're stumbling. Ducharme comes in. Now Luke comes in. Like, seriously, I'm not sure they knew what they had either. Not only us.
We had this discussion on the Leafs picking Wayne Simmons over Corey Perry, and Ben Sherratt, to me, Mac, how can you Winnipeg, you just mentioned it. It's like you have this guy under your nose, and it's not like he walked out the door to go sign a $5 or $6 million contract. He signed one with Montreal for $3.5 million, and now you watch, and it's like Ben Sherratt would look really good in a Winnipeg Jet uniform right now.
And the Canadians, even in that series, dominated the Jets at the net because their defense wasn't good enough and strong enough and big enough to handle it. So anyway, look, Bergevin deserves credit. He's taken a ton of heat. Let's not kid ourselves. But we said it the other day, Chiarelli Suzuki trade, oh man. And Bergevin took some heat on that one too. And I'll tell you what, Suzuki, every time he steps on the ice, he's making something happen. He's got a chance to be and we talked about this last show, Nick. Suzuki's got a chance to be an impact guy. Well, he is already.
He is an impact guy in this series.
And how tough he is.
It's growing beyond belief. The confidence not only in Suzuki, but the whole team.
But what about the fact that they wouldn't put Caulfield was a healthy scratch? How many games? Finally relented to pressure to put him in the lineup. He's been the story of the series with the plays this kid is making.
Just a huge goal off of a Corey Perry.
Oh, what a play. What a play by Perry.
How can Mark Stone look so slow and Corey Perry look so fast in this series?
I don't get it, but that's the truth. It is the truth. And I'm telling you, I'm looking at Stone, I'm thinking, whoa, what is going on? Pressure affects people differently. And Stone's a guy that's been on an unbelievable trip since he went to Vegas. I mean, they couldn't stop patting themselves on the back about the Stone acquisition, and we couldn't stop patting them on the back over those acquisitions. And the kid, I feel for him. Mark Stone's doing everything he can, but he's not getting anything done. Starting with 5-on-5 and then going to the power play where it's absolutely abysmal.
Game 3 against Vegas. They looked like a team that deserved to win that lost. And now, if I got my games correct, and then last night they looked similar in Game 5 as they did in Game 4, but they got the results, Mac. And that's 2 good games in a row for the Montreal Canadiens, and yet the energy coming into the Vegas game last night suggested that everything was tiered towards Vegas taking the lead, thus you picked them. And then we see Marc-Andre Fleury come out. And if you ask me, Mac, I'll take Marc-Andre Fleury all day long over Robin Lehner if you gave me the choice.
Yeah.
But in this instance, I told you the last show, the right decision last night would have been Robin Lehner, not Marc-Andre Fleury.
So when I turned the TV on last night and I didn't see the pregame shows, I almost fell off the chair or the Chesterfield couch, whatever it's called. I was like dumbfounded. So just a minute. You take out Fleury and put in Leonard. Then you got Fleury thinking, what the hell is going on? I'm pulled because of one bad goal and blah, 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 blah. All of a sudden, okay, Leonard wins 2-1 in overtime, made some big saves, Caulfield on a breakaway, big saves around the paint. And he goes back to Fleury. Everybody would have thought Leonard was going in net. I thought, are you shitting me? Did he just do that? Did he just do it?
Mac.
2-1 in overtime, and he comes back with Fleury, and I'm thinking, what is going on here? Now, just a minute. There's a lot of chirping come out of Vegas that Gerard Gallant was let go because he couldn't make in-game adjustments. Okay? That was out there coming from people in that organization, okay? And I'm watching the game last night, and I'm thinking, they can't get through the neutral zone. They can't get the power play going. They can't forecheck. Maybe they need some in-game adjustments right now. And I'm not seeing it.
What did that take you?
You
about
better come up with it real fast.
14 minutes for the Gerard Gallant in-game adjustments comment. I love it.
Am I accurate in that?
Yeah, well,
That's been in the New York Post. That's been in the New York Post that came out, that his in-game adjustments and his technical side was weak.
Yeah, like, I think it's an overplayed
I called
comment.
Bullshit on it 2 weeks ago. Remember?
Yeah.
I called bullshit on that when Gerard's name was out there. Bullshit on the fact that he can't make in-game adjustments. Fleury let in 3 goals in San Jose last 5 minutes of the game that were in the middle of the net, and that's in-game adjustments.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough of that.
The only thing I say
right now
is that at a series 2-2, where you have not played well, where all your main horses are shut down, and I don't care how small of a sample size it is, there was only one game that we've seen in this series that one Vegas player has crawled a little bit in the Montreal Canadiens psyche, and that included Cole Caulfield with those comments about shutting him down. But at least you had that energy of Robin Lehner, of crawling in Montreal's heads just a tad. And you lost that. You lost that energy of Robin Lehner being the one guy that can make Montreal maybe scratch their heads a little bit. Other than that, there isn't one guy that has owned any part of the Montreal Canadiens in this series, and you sat him on the end of the bench. You could have easily come back to Fleury if you needed to down the road, 3-2, if Leonard would have lost and been in the same predicament, but maybe just with a wider mindset of a reset.
So where does he go?
Fleury.
So where does he go now?
Mac,
where does he go next?
He has to go back to the guy that did the job the last time in Montreal. He has no choice. Okay.
Right now,
it's not even debatable. He has to go back to Leonard. You cannot end this series with Marc-Andre Fleury losing 2 games in a row.
And listen, I'm sitting here and I'm saying I want to see some adjustments. So if that's one of them, and I don't mean putting Marchessault on the wing in place of Pacioretty with Stone and Stevenson.
Well,
I mean,
shuffling the lines is what he thinks was in-game adjustments.
Well, that's an in-game adjustment. Okay. Well, I want to see some speed through the neutral zone. I want to see crisp breakouts. I want to see speed through the neutral zone. I want to see them getting through the neutral zone the way Tampa changed and got through the neutral zone in Game 2 against the Islanders.
See, this is what you're talking about, because I watch a Vegas team right now, and they want to play and beat Montreal like they just beat Colorado. And it doesn't work that way. I'm watching these 40-foot passes through the neutral zone get shut down constantly. Right. They can't even get in there and start a cycle because they can't get through the neutral zone.
they
And
can't get through the big four on the blue line.
It doesn't work that way. There's a rhythm to the game. It's a dance. And they want to only dance a certain way. And Montreal's not allowing them. And they're not making those adjustments that you're talking about, because every time they try to do an east-west pass or a 40-foot pass through a red line, they get shut down. And they
look.
It's a constant look, Mac. It's frustrating to kind of watch them.
Oh, this is a President's Trophy tying team. They lost out in a tiebreaker. This is a team that relied on forecheck, hard work, big plays from their big players. This is a team right now that needs you. There's nothing more gratifying for a player to go on the ice knowing there's a game plan in place and watch it succeed. Because when you're the Montreal Canadiens and you're hearing the game plan and you're watching it succeed, the confidence level grows within the group for the staff. It's a critical part of it. And when you're stumbling and your power play's awful and you can't get entries and you can't get a forecheck going, you start second guessing your coaching staff. So this team was one of the best teams in the NHL all year. This is a team that can still win this series,
with the exception of the power play.
But we got to see something drastically different. Different.
With the exception,
and I don't mean flipping wingers.
With the exception of the power play, Mac, because that did struggle, much like the Toronto Maple Leafs. They never really got that power play going.
Exactly.
Pietrangelo's a wonderful hockey player, and he's been great in these playoffs, but he's still not regarded as a top power play point guy. And I think during the regular season, they finished, 22nd overall on the power play? But now it's gone. It's 0 for 12, if I'm not mistaken, in the series.
Like Theodore looked like he was going to be that guy, but and I watched Pietrangelo get frustrated last night. I mean, he got a couple of shifts like he's at his wit's end right now. This guy as well, and I can't blame him.
We know power plays dry up this time of year, but you still have to be better than 10% on your power play to try to win a Stanley Cup.
When you're basically the best team overall in the NHL, with the exception of Colorado. So look, this is a real test. And when this test is going on, your general manager is in a hotel room in Montreal with COVID, who apparently can't get across the border. Has that changed any? Is he still in a hotel room in Montreal?
I think you're not allowed to change countries when you're COVID positive. I mean,
so he hasn't been able to get another test. They make him stay there for life.
He tested positive. I think that means
I know, but
14
do they
days.
Not retest? Can they not retest before the 14 days? I guess that's the law. I guess it's the law.
At $1.25, how many you want to keep throwing at him?
But anyway,
eventually, you got to say, I feel you've got it.
Like, this is a time when your general manager's got to be around the team. And, I know George is there and I know Foley's there. But I'll tell you what, we talked about the pressure going into this series. And look, they're good enough they can still come back. But Montreal are on top of their game. Full credit to them. Full marks to all the guys we've talked about. And like when Carey Price has done what he's done since the Toronto series, I'm telling you what, that makes me real nervous.
Mac,
I've never seen this guy look better. I've never seen him look better in a long, long time.
Like there's not a bad, has he given up one bad goal in a month?
The McNabb goal
was it McNabb's goal?
That was
maybe
his close. That was his close, and that wasn't even a real bad one. And that wasn't even a real bad one. They have got so much confidence in this guy, and when they get a lead, the way they're playing, and they're buying in, they deserve full credit. And the center ice, I'm not a big fan of Vegas' center ice. I've said that numerous times, on this show. But when I look at Suzuki, Kokaniemi, Stahl, and Danu dominating the center ice position, that absolutely shocks me. And they are dominating that position.
Chandler Stevenson misses game 3 and game 4 and comes back and is their best centerman.
Yeah, by far.
And Carlson, Riley, see, it's like horse racing, man. You never know. He could win it, he could lose it, he could break his leg, and you got to shoot him. You don't know. But to sit here after watching this series and thinking that Mark Stone, Riley, Marchessault, Pacioretty, Stone, Carlson would all shut down like the way they had. There's just no way you could ever forecast that, Mac.
But do you remember something I said to you? When you go into the playoffs and into a series as an underdog, it can be such a magical thing happen. If you can catch it as an underdog and you can strategize and you see some success and it takes off, it can be, I mean, that's why we've seen it happen so many times in hockey.
Is this your Montreal? Is this your Florida team from '96? Or
no.
Is it the Canadians from '93, Mac? I think they missed the playoffs the following year after winning that cup.
I think it's the Canadians from '93. I really do. And I look at the magic of Suzuki with big goals and big plays, and the magic of Caulfield with big plays and big goals, and the magic of Kokoniemi with big plays, and the magic of Perry and Stahl and Byron, Weber, and the leadership. I'll tell you what, Petrie comes in and was amazing how the change he brought to this team. So they've got, and then it all circles around their goaltender. It all comes back to him. And I'll tell you what, Vegas are still good enough to come back. I'll tell you what, there better be some, like, I don't know. They're shaking their heads right now.
I made it a note when I heard Gallagher in the latter part of the Leaf series say, we think one goal is enough to win with Carey Price. And I don't know many guys, including my era, that have ever, maybe Buffalo felt that way about Hasek. And of course, we've had some great teams with Brodeur and Patrick. But when I heard Gallagher say that, I made it a note to emphasize what that makes a team feel like.
Yeah.
And it goes to your belief, Mac, that if Gallagher truly believes that, then Vegas has to score the first goal or else this thing's over. It's just that simple.
Yeah. And it's such a frustration because, I mean, look, any hockey person that watched the Vegas Golden Knights play this year, did they have a handful of games where they were off? Did they play a handful of games this year like they've played 3 games in this series? No. I mean, they were as consistent as any team in the NHL. Night in, night out, home, road. Whatever the opposition was, they rose to the occasion, and they got to come back to that. They got to get that belief back that we're a dominant team, and right now they're being dominated in a lot of facets of the game.
Last night, I think on Hockey Night in Canada, Elliot, our good buddy Elliot Friedman, mentioned that Darren Millard talked about first time Vegas is out of a time zone going into Montreal, and if that played a factor. And
oh my God, are you kidding me?
The first thought was, no, Vegas was playing shit before that. They had bad starts before that. They looked like they were stuck in the mud before that.
What's the time zone? 2 hours or 1 hour? 2 hours. Is it?
To the east, bud.
Jesus, like seriously, are we talking about like? I believe Scotty Bowman when he was coach of Detroit, and he said we've had to go through time zones for 4 rounds. we're finally in San Jose, and we've had to go through it for 4 rounds, time zones. It's catching up to us. 1 game? You got to be shitting me.
Do you buy into that maybe Colorado sucked more life out of them than they would have hoped? Because it's one thing to say that you're not playing well, but it's another one to look like your energy is just gone down tenfold.
I think you can say, if somebody would have said last night that the combination of Minnesota and the comeback against Colorado may have affected this, I would buy into that a little bit. But Colorado should have been a high at the end. It should have been an amazing high, battling back in that series and winning. So I'm not buying it. I think Minnesota took its toll on them. I really do. But I'm not buying the fact that time zones are any factor whatsoever. I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. Teams do so much preparation for that. I'm sorry, but we'll see.
Those first 3 weeks in the regular season, one of our thumbnail, of course, was the Montreal Canadiens and talking about Stanley Cup contending. And
Yeah.
one of the reasons why we did that was Bergevin's pickups of including Josh Anderson. And I'm watching this guy constantly get behind Vegas's blue line to go in on breakaways. And at what point, Mac, do you just say, stop it? Okay, don't let this guy get behind you.
I'm worried about Jeff Rimmer because he goes to bed every night and he wakes up at 3 a.m. when he has to get up because of his, enlarged prostate and go to the bathroom. He goes, Josh, you're a Blue Jacket still.
How
Canadian.
How do you let a guy that size with that speed leave your organization? I will never get that in Columbus. Why would you ever let this guy go?
Well, and I know it happened 2 years earlier when there was a major pissing match over a contract, and it was embedded in the kid's head that he was leaving. You know that, and I know it. So it wasn't a last-minute decision. It was, we've got leverage. We, the Blue Jackets, have leverage. We're going to use our leverage, and we're going to make this guy sign this contract. And you know what? They used their leverage, which lots of teams do, and they made him sign it, and he wasn't staying. And that was out there. And I kept telling my good friend Rimmer that was going to happen. Of course, he didn't buy it. But anyway, it's too bad. And he was up and down all season. He looked good. He looked bad. He looked great. He looked bad. Good. Couple injuries. Nick, you're 100% right. This guy looks like a friggin' horse. He looks like a star the way, and not the goals, but the way he's dominating, his speed. And I've seen him back check every bit as well effectively as forecheck. Their back pressure has been absolutely an understatement. Their back pressure on the back check.
I can't believe a guy that size has got the edge work to cut in around the net as well as he does. And I think he's better at it than Tom Wilson. And Tom Wilson, over the last few years, including his Stanley Cup, has kind of led that charge. But I'm watching Josh Anderson, and I think overall he's a better skater. I don't know if from a point A to a point B, Mac.
Oh, he's a much better skater.
Wilson can really go, but I'm watching Josh Anderson east-west cut in to the net. I can't tell you how impressed I am.
I'm blown away by it. I really am. I'm blown away by it. I know his season was up and down, but he still scored. I don't know, what did he get? Was he close to 20 goals or whatever? I mean, the guy still found a way. He was streaky at times, but he is a horse, and he's not getting involved in the BS. He's just playing big and fast and physical, and he's chipping in goals. And his line has got great jump right now.
Kotkaniemi, Gallagher, Anderson. They don't have one guy who's sitting on the sidelines watching. Everybody is involved. They roll four. It's flawless right now. Their game is flawless.
Like Armia, Stahl, Perry. Like I watched them the other night in the first period of the game. I'm thinking, I watched Stahl at the end of the season. He could hardly get up and down the ice. And all of a sudden, Stahl now, I mean, as we've said numerous times, how can you look so slow in a fast regular season and look so fast at playoff time? It's on, and this blue line, ridiculed, big, slow, stumble bums. I'll tell you what, nobody's ridiculing them now. And we talked about it. That would not be a fun blue line to play against at playoff time. So Vegas have got some homework to do. And I'm anxious to see what they do.
You think with the success of Montreal, it's been never kind of easier to sit there and say, listen, I know I got to make the playoffs. I get that. But what do I have to kick the shit out of ourselves over a regular season? Just time it. Just play well in the playoffs.
Isn't it hilarious now to read all the experts talk about the GMs in the league are watching the Montreal Canadiens and they are trying to relook at their team as how to model the way the game is played in the playoffs. Are you shitting me?
Copycat league.
Like I listened to Drury yesterday and they had a press conference with Gerard and Drury's talking about watching the playoffs and how the game has changed. I'm thinking, oh my God, is this new? Is this like groundbreaking?
No.
This has been going on for 75 years. It changes at playoff time.
What about the roller coaster of a guy like Carey Price, who you got to get rid of his contract, and no, you don't, to worth every penny at 10.5 to it's a bargain. It's like, it's incredible. The roller coaster that this guy has been on, and yet he is the most level-headed one out of anybody in hockey right now.
And we said going into the Toronto series, I said it, I guess, probably, because I'm going to take blame for it. Carey Price, you owe the Montreal Canadiens something this year in the playoffs. With the way your season has been, you owe them something.
Maybe the last 2 or 3.
He has shoved it right up, where, with the people that have said that, including me.
He is the main reason why they can function the way they're functioning right now.
Yeah,
he is
agree.
Just the only guy, and a 10.5. Say it, everybody. It's a bargain. Every team would happily pay that if he can instill something in a bottle that could be duplicated. But
I'm telling you this. It's always scary when you're playing a team that if they get it going, can beat you 2 in a row. Vegas, if they can figure this out, capable and have enough talent and skill to win 2 in a row.
All right, are you with me?
All they got to do is win in Montreal and go home for Game 7. But look,
I wouldn't even give Vegas, a big edge if they did win Game 6.
Well, I want to see some major adjustments because my good buddy was shit on by these guys, and I want to see some in-game adjustments. Fair enough?
Yeah, as an objective broadcaster, not as a personal buddy, right?
And I brought it up this season on a few occasions. So it's not like I'm coming out of nowhere.
Are you with me that DeBoer has no choice? Because 2 days ago, we were calling that a gutsy call to put Leonard in. And last night, I'm calling it a bad call to leave him out?
I will be shocked if Leonard's not in, but like, who knows? I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't
I
know
don't
what
know.
I don't know what the owner's saying. I don't know what the GM's saying. Who does answer me this question? Who does DeBoer like more? Fleury as his goalie.
I don't think it's not a popularity contest right now. It's what covers my ass.
Why? Leonard is probably there because of Fleury's debacle in San Jose against DeBoer's team in Game 7. Right? Was it Game 7 where they were up 3-1 with 5 minutes left and they lost the game with the 5-minute major?
Major.
With the 5-minute major, yeah.
All right, your track record's still pretty good here. So, give us a prediction for Game 6. Montreal closed it out.
Montreal 4-2. Oh, can I say that? Geez, I think I got to say it's going 7.
Oh, you just said
I think
4-2.
I got to.
You
I
switched
know,
it
but
on us.
well, I want some time to think about this.
You're all right. We'll give you that. Usually your first reaction's your best one.
What did I
right?
say? What did I say?
4-2 Montreal.
Yeah, I've got Montreal winning.
All right.
Oh,
A lot of Canadian
I'd like to be
fans
wrong.
happy about that.
I'd kind of like to see it go 7, just because I'm anxious to see, because I'm watching this Netflix on Startup. It's called Startup, and it's getting a little dark. So I like to have something else I can do besides
They're
watch
all
Startup.
dark.
I told you,
on
that's a good
Netflix.
show, man. That's a good show.
It's a great show, but it's a little dark, isn't it?
Well, I mean,
Jesus, they're all dark.
Jordan,
As
what's
I
it about?
said,
Give us it in about
said,
10 seconds.
the one thing about all these shows is you feel better about your own kids when you go to bed.
yeah. Quick synopsis: it's about a startup and people working in the startup world, and different different people, attitudes, all that stuff,
and getting funds and trying to come up with cash to fund your operation, and getting funds in from dubious situations is how I'd sum it up.
All right. Netflix critic Doug Maclean joining us on the Real Kyper at Noon show. All right, switch gears, Mac. Islanders absolutely throttled.
Oh.
And, well, we marveled at their ability to look the same when they're up 2-0 or down 2-0. Really went out the window on this one. How did the Islanders recover?
Well, here's the interesting thing, where we just finished talking about adjustments, didn't we? Okay. So what about his comments post-game of an 8-0 loss? What did he say? He said, what happened tonight, the mistakes that were made tonight, are fixable. So he believes, and his team believes, that what happened in an 8-0 debacle is fixable. The coach made that comment post-game. What happened tonight is fixable. I didn't hear Vegas saying that. I haven't heard Vegas saying, but he said it's fixable.
Yeah.
So I'm anxious to see tonight what he does to fix it, and his team does to fix it. So you know what? It would start with maybe less turnovers. Good place to start.
And
right?
It's so interesting that a team could lose 8-0 and still not look as lethargic as Vegas. So that's maybe the point that he's talking about. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not
I like
lack of energy or lack of effort or lack of wanting it. That stuff you can question Vegas after last night.
Right. I like the comment by Trotzy. I like them. I mean, he's getting his team ready, saying, "Hey, we'll fix this problem, and we're back there. We're back in it. We got, So I liked it, and it will be a hard-fought game tonight. It'll be a hard-fought game.
even if you're able to fix it, Mac, it's really a tough task if Kucherov, Stamkos, Braden Point just feel like playing. And there's some on an off day. I like your chances a lot better. Yeah. But when these guys are on and they feel good, and what was the power play? 3 for 6. We talk about Vegas's being completely shut down.
Yeah.
These guys are they're unstoppable, I think, when these guys are feeling it.
The other thing that would bother me a little bit is all of a sudden the Cirelli, Gillhorn, Stamkos line comes alive and gets what, four goals.
That 5 shots in the first 4 games.
Right. And all of a sudden they come alive with a big game, and all of a sudden now you've got the Point line, Cirelli line, the Gord line. I mean, they're all there, and the energy line from the fourth line, they're coming at you too, because Goudreau and Coleman and company are not, and Johnson, they're coming as well. So, and Chernak is out, Shen's in. They look to be healthy. Chernak, not sure what the situation, whether he'll be back or not. Islanders get a break with Barzal getting the fine, which was what you thought it would be. So we'll see.
$5,000 fine for Barzal. That would have been George Peros, who's the key guy in the player safety supplemental discipline department. That would have been maybe the gutsiest call he'd ever make, taking Barzal out of this one. There's not a snowball's chance, as you like to say, that he was going to do that.
I mean, the Scheifele thing still, the Wilson thing comes back to haunt him. The Scheifele thing haunts him. I listened to Grapes talk the other night about the Scheifele thing, about him getting 4 games for that hit. Have you listened to Sean Avery describe that hit?
Yes. We all have.
Anyway, George, it was a big decision. Oh man, I could only see them all sitting around that video, sitting around the monitor making that decision, that group. Oh my God. Good on them.
Good on them. They'll get a chance to tie this series up, take it into 7. What's going to have to happen here for the Islanders to go the distance?
Well, look, as much as we applaud the Cizikas line and Martin and Clutterbuck with what they've done, and they've certainly done their job, you've got to see the big boys, the Beauvillier, the Nelson, Barzal, Eberle. We've got to see, Palmieri, Zajac. Look, they've all been good through the playoffs. They need to play the game of their lives tonight, that group. And, Pelech and Pulak have been good. Letty's been good, but they need the game of their lives tonight. Dobson didn't play much. They got to get back to using people. 5 defense. It's tough going when you get this deep.
And they got to do something that nobody's been able to do the last 8 games, and that's keep Braden Point off the goal scoring sheet here, Mac.
Unbelievable.
In an era where you are in shutdown mode, where goaltenders have never been better, save percentages have never been better, he's only 2 games behind Reggie Leach's all-time record in the playoffs of 10 consecutive games.
Unbelievable.
I don't know how you can even contemplate that this is happening right now, 2021.
I just can't. I just can't. And I tell you what, and Nick, when you look at the goals that he scored, these are not cheap goals. These are big-time skill plays, big-time gutsy plays. He's done it every way. It's on his ass, on his knees. It's big shots. It's patience at the net and a deke and upstairs. I mean, he's done it every which way. It's been special. Reggie was the big shooter, with the Flyers, but this guy has done it every possible way. And I mean, him and Kucherov have such magic. Palat has been real good. Their blue line is such a threat. Because they got the threat coming from the back end offensively. It allows a little more freedom down low. It's a tough assignment for the Islanders. It really is.
Nick Kypreos, Doug Maclean, episode 133 with the Canadians, one game away from the Stanley Cup. Where are you, by the way? This is a new look, a new background look. I can only see you look like you're in the witness protection program, for God's sakes. Why are you so dark?
I've had a problem with Jill on these shows, right? we've had a couple problems with her. So Jill's actually building a couple houses here, spec homes that we're building, and so she's busy on her computer. So she said to me this morning, since you've been shooting your mouth off on the show about me, and people of her friends have showed her the clips.
Oh no!
She decided that she was going to work at her computer this afternoon at her desk upstairs, and I was going to the spare bedroom. I hope it's not to sleep here as well, but I've been sent to the spare bedroom.
If you are in the witness protection program, it's only because Jill put you there. I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but I think I will. How would Tampa Bay match up against Montreal? Because we've got like award-winning penalty kill versus an award-winning power play. But outside of that, you would almost think at this point it's been proven that Montreal could disrupt Tampa Bay's rhythm just as easily as they've done it against Vegas.
I know one thing. If I was Luke and the coaching staff, if you happen to get by Vegas, that's still a big if. If you get by Vegas, I would be taking a look at Columbus, Tampa Bay playoffs 2 years ago. I'd be having a look at a lot of shifts as to how Columbus played in the neutral zone, how Columbus played in Tampa Bay's face, how it was in the tough areas. As Dave King used to call the quiet zones, which were the corners and the bury behind the net, and other people called it the combat zone. I'd be having a look at that because that was quite a series by the Columbus Blue Jackets a couple of years ago. And that was a beautiful, structured hockey team that was eaten alive by physical, downright ugly hockey. So I think Tampa Bay have grown since then. They learned a lot since that series. That's what will make it more challenging.
Game 6 tonight. Tampa Bay up 3-2 in that series. We'll see if they can close it out. If Tampa continues to get a little balanced attack, I think 6 different Lightning players scored in the last game. It's going to be tough for the Islanders to hold on here. All right, let's switch gears a little bit, Mac, because you stirred it up a little bit with your Tortorella comments about possibly having a friend by the Buffalo Sabres. And what did we hear last here that maybe the Pagulas have it listed at around $500 million? Does that sound about right to you?
That seems to be a number that seems to be out there a little bit. And I guess, look, I want to qualify this. I did protect myself because I said, as they say in PEI, I'm not telling you it's the truth. I'm just telling you what I heard. So there's
some rumblings out there, though, and we like to talk about rumblings.
Yeah.
So if we stick with Buffalo a little bit, there is a sense that the Eichel talk has gotten a little bit more aggressive. I had heard that all 3 California teams are knocking on the door, with maybe the exception of Anaheim, maybe a little bit more aggressive.
Anaheim's more aggressive, you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Anaheim would have, I think, the most interest out of any team, and possibly, Mac, with the room that they have, Anaheim might be in the best position to do something. Now, this is what I've also heard on a follow-up to the Jack Eichel stuff, is that Buffalo is not interested in salary coming back. Draft picks and grade A prospects.
Well, Anaheim certainly are in a position. Let's not forget that Anaheim were heavily involved in the Dubois sweepstakes from Columbus, and the name Zagris was out there, the kid from the World Junior, who's a spectacular prospect.
Would you be would you be so fast to give up that kid?
Oh man, that's scary to have to do that. But you know what? You've got a franchise that has got to get back on track here. They've had good success as a franchise in recent years. Stumbled lately. Bob Murray's got to make a splash here, but there's going to be some big changes there. What does Eichel bring? What's Eichel's health? I think you're on the money. I think Anaheim would be a team with assets that could make it happen. But those are scary deals when you make these big moves. They're scary deals. Let me tell you.
I hear LA's cooled off, and again, if you cannot unload money, Mac, I'm not sure how much it makes sense to have Kopitar, Eichel, and Drew Doughty picking up 45% of your salary.
I can't see that happening. That's why Anaheim, to me, because of the history of the Dubois situation, I've got to believe Anaheim would be the team. I don't even see San Jose, although Doug Wilson's done so many, strange things the last few years. Who knows what's going on there? But I think Anaheim makes the most sense. I really do.
Anaheim, I think the writing on the wall is too, as well as, Getzlaf. His contract's coming up, Mac, and I would imagine if he was going to go anywhere, he would have left by now. So they might be in a position to re-sign him, but what would you? Is it a $2 or $3 million contract? Clearly, they're looking for the next one to step in and be the face. I'm just not sure, Mac, what you think you're getting out of Jack Eichel. Right now, you're getting a guy that you think is arguably as talented as anybody out there, but what's been proven with Jack Eichel that you think you have to make this trade because you haven't proven that you can win with this guy?
What's been proven is that Jack Eichel can put up points in the regular season. That's what he's proven thus far in his career. So injuries are a major concern. You don't know what the health situation is. He thinks he can be fixed. Buffalo, I don't know what is going on with that mess, but it's a big deal to make. I'll tell you what, it's a big, big deal to make. Now, when you say Getzlaf, are we going to have a Joe Thornton, Spezza, Getzlaf sweepstake in Toronto? Is that going to be the sweepstake? Am I going to read like I was pretty critical of the Simmons Thornton, even Brody. I wasn't in love with, but I don't know. I guess that is over. Maybe that's done. So that's good.
I would imagine they'd get Getzlaf on a $2 million, $3 million 1-year deal, and he'll be running the team before we know it. That's basically what happens with these type of guys, right?
You said it. I didn't.
Yeah, he'd be great. I think he'd be great. We see the Sedins.
You mean running the team? You mean he's going in as GM?
Yeah, whatever. Start off slowly, work your way to president, owner. He could probably buy a team with the money he's made. The Sedins in Vancouver, that's a good move.
Yeah, I like it. I like the Sedin move, and again, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention Lou Lamoriello winning the GM of the Year award.
Yes.
We got to get that in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
For all our Islander fans and Leaf fans and New Jersey fans, great accomplishment.
In the where there's smoke, there's fire conversation. Matthew Tkachuk and St. Louis seems to be a lot talked.
Wow, I've never heard that.
No, you haven't.
You come up with all the gems. I come up with garbage.
No,
like
that's
the
out there,
thing.
Mac. No,
and
that's
you
out
come
there.
up with you come up with these gems.
Do we have a
That's
real
interesting.
sense? Do we have a real sense of who's going to make key decisions in Calgary? Brad or Daryl, or a combination of both?
I was told yesterday that it seems really weird there. Like nobody really has a feel for what's really happening. Not, like they're not getting a whole lot of direction from the head coach, from the GM, from any. It's kind of weird, is what I was told yesterday.
Yeah. See,
now, please don't run blogging with this, you guys. Like, I'm just telling you. It sort of hit me that it's kind of weird.
Can we workshop the headline? Maybe it would be like, Doug Maclean says it's kind of weird.
Last week.
By the way, go ahead.
I was just going to say, last week you talked about why the Leafs raced to deal with Spezza when they should be focusing on Zach Hyman. And in Calgary, I wouldn't race with Matt Tkachuk there. I'd probably focus more on Johnny Hockey and Sean Monahan and what we're going to do there.
That and where you're going to move them. One really important point I have to make before we sign off here.
That's my cue. That get me the hell off this show.
I have my car in at the dealer at 2:30, and Jill has to get her nails. Is it nails you're getting done, dear?
Oh my gosh! You're just, you know what? She's getting a padlock right now on that door.
No, I'm sucking up. Is it nails you need done, dear, or massage?
Oh my God! You're flirting, man. You're flirting with trouble. Did you get an answer?
Care.
No. Hey, listen, in all seriousness, sad news again. It's been a tough week for the NHL alumni. Rene Robert, we lost at 72 years of age.
Yeah, for sure.
Rene had a heart attack last week, and we're sad to see him go. The French Connection, Mac. I would imagine they would have been a line that I remember them, of course, but I was much younger. But what do you remember about Rene and that French Connection line?
Well, I just remember the end-to-end rushes of a Perreault, the great shooter of Richard Martin, and also Rene Robert. Was just the chemistry of those three guys was a special era in Buffalo Sabre hockey. It really was, and I was really saddened to hear that. We lose a tough week is right. Losing great individuals who were really important to their respective organizations.
Well, there's no question that in their history, Mac, there's nobody that's had a bigger presence or more identity than the three guys that you mentioned, including Rene, of course, Dominic Hasek, incredible story in that organization. But as far as the French Connection, man, oh man, that seems to be at the top of the mountain in Buffalo Sabre history.
For sure.
Okay, Mac, great job. Go tend to your Jeep, and you make sure wherever Jill wants to get to, you make sure she's there. Okay.
I may spoil her tonight and pick up a Michael's Pizza for dinner. A meat lover, just to spoil her.
We also set a record here on the Real Kyper at Noon show that Mac went uninterrupted. No one tried to call you. It's not.
I had a double do not disturb on today.
It's not as much fun. So listen, if you're still out there watching, hit the like button for the fact that Mac was not interrupted by any of his buddies calling. And if you're a first-time watcher, subscribe. We love having you on. Love having Mac on, sharing all that a personal touch. Hey, Mac?
Totally.
It's all personal with you.
Very personal.
Okay. Have a great rest of the day. I hope the Jeep. Didn't you just buy the Jeep? What are you taking it in for?
Well, just a couple of little touch-up things have to be looked at. So I just talked to the sales. He just said, run it in. We'll look at it,
Doug Maclean out of PEI, giving us everything you need to tee up the conference final. Thanks, Mac.
Take care, man.
All right, Joe and Jordan, thanks as always. That was a fast hour. We'll see how this thing plays out against Tampa and the New York Islanders. Do we get a team advancing tonight, or will it go the distance? Enjoy the game, everybody, and we'll see you Friday on the Real Kyper at noon show.